Hello, hi everyone. Welcome back to Woo Can Cook. My name is Wesley, and this is a show where we are slowly cooking our way through all of the food from my childhood. Today we're diving back into our series dedicated to reproducing foods from our 8-day trip traveling through Taipei, Taiwan, with a look at what I would consider to be one of the top 5 most iconic foods found in Taiwanese cuisine, which of course is the Taiwanese popcorn chicken. Now, those that have been following along with this channel for a while now may know that we are certainly no stranger to popcorn chicken, and in fact, we even took a crack at the Quicklys popcorn chicken a few years back too. Today though, I felt inspired to revisit this dish once again because of the inclusion of one single ingredient that I saw used pretty frequently throughout the Taiwanese night markets, which is Thai basil, more specifically a deep-fried Thai basil. And if you're like me and you're wondering why in the world would you deep fry a Thai basil leaf, then you are in the right place. For those unfamiliar, a Taiwanese popcorn chicken is a relatively straightforward concept comprised of a double-fried, diced piece of chicken breast or thigh that's been coated in a light and crisp potato and tapioca batter, then seasoned with an iconic 5-spice and white pepper seasoning. By now, I hope that many of you should recognize this seasoning from a myriad of different dishes that have come up in this series already. This includes our hot star-fried chicken, salt and pepper pork chops, tempura green beans, and many others. Finally, last but not least, we'll also be taking a look at what I might call the biggest whoopsie moment that I have ever had in my many years of deep frying stuff, which is what exactly happens if you accidentally pour water into your deep fryer. Bad things, y'all. Very bad. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, so up first, we're kicking things off with a quick marinade to our chicken. In a popcorn chicken recipe like this, there are two options where you may sneak in some aromatic veggies, which would either be in the marinade or in the dry batter. I'm opting for the former here today as our dry seasoning is already quite heavy on the garlic powder. This here is 4 cloves of crushed and minced garlic to start, followed by 1 inch or about 1 tablespoon of fine minced ginger going into my largest mixing bowl. Then up next is our large diced chicken. I generally prefer chicken thigh for popcorn chicken because I find the extra fat yields a more tender piece of chicken. That said, chicken breast would also do just fine in this context too though, and for what it's worth, it would also yield a slightly crispier piece of chicken due to its lower moisture content. Those following this channel may notice that from this point onward we are essentially following more or less the same recipe as our hot star chicken video from a few weeks back, which did in fact use a butterflied chicken breast and did also in fact benefit from the lower moisture content because we were deep frying a whole chicken breast and the fryer was working overtime. Anyway, back to our marinade. This is 4 tablespoons or a 1/4 cup of soy sauce going in here to start, followed by a single tablespoon of Shaoxing wine and half a teaspoon of white pepper that I'm mixing to combine, then setting aside for 30 minutes. Once our chicken has marinated, I'm separating it from the liquids of our marinade, then combining with our dry batter. This is 1/3 cup each of potato starch and tapioca starch going in, which I'm mixing to combine, then setting aside for a moment while we de-stem our Thai basil next. Alright, so in a separate bowl here, I'm de-stemming about 1 ounce of Thai basil. Now, I've seen many versions of this dish use literally the entire stem, I don't know, just the whole Thai basil thing, fried along with the chicken. Personally, I've found that the flowers and stems of Thai basil can be pretty bitter, so my preference is always to separate these. Then moving on next, in a separate bowl, I'm assembling what I would consider to be the single aspect of this dish that sets Taiwanese fried chicken apart from any other fried chicken, which is our dry seasoning. This today is a single teaspoon each of garlic powder and onion powder, followed by a half teaspoon each of chili powder and white pepper. Then rounding this out, the highlight of the evening, this is a 1/4 teaspoon of Chinese 5-spice going in, followed by a pinch of kosher salt to finish. Over on the stove, I'm bringing my fryer up to 350F using my handy Thermopro thermometer. Have I mentioned how sick this thermometer is, and also how much I hate using this old thermometer that I used to use, which is stupid hard to turn on and off? Link in the description, y'all. Anyway, I'm bringing my fryer up to 350F here, then we're double frying our chicken today, so I'm letting these go for about 1 minute until lightly golden, then removing to a dry rack to cool for 5 minutes while our fryer comes back up to 350 again. Then here's our chicken going back in for a second and final fry for about 3 to 4 minutes until golden brown. After our second fry, I'm removing these to a mixing bowl this time and immediately coating with our dry seasoning. Remember to do this immediately or it won't stick to the chicken, y'all. Then finally, I'm bringing my fryer back up to 350F one more time so that we may finally deep fry our Thai basil. Now, when you do this for yourselves, make sure that there's no residual water left in the bowl too, or else the fryer will literally explode, which is not awesome at all. Nope, not at all. Anyway, I'm frying our basil here for about a minute until crisped. Then what you want to do for yourselves is place the basil gently on top of the chicken to garnish. I made the mistake here of tossing this in the bowl with the chicken because I didn't realize exactly how delicate the basil would be, so you'll notice that much of it got crushed in the toss, which is less than ideal. So, for your own attempts, you should be adding your chicken to a bowl with some fried basil on top to garnish, and we're ready to eat. Okay, so some initial thoughts here from me. Our popcorn chicken itself is perfectly crisped and seasoned. This is a popcorn chicken batter and seasoning that I've made several dozen times now and would consider to be one of my absolute go-to recipes for Super Bowl parties and gatherings. It's crispy and lightly battered from our potato and tapioca starch, then tender and toothsome from our chicken thigh, and wonderfully aromatic from our dry seasoning. That said, I am also a bit torn on the presentation and use of our Thai basil today too, though. Thai basil itself is really delicate and, to be honest, a little bit finicky. The aromatics from the basil, in my opinion, really release to their full potential when it's just barely begun to wilt. I like to achieve this in stir fries by adding the basil at the very end of the cook, using residual heat to bloom the aromatics. So, for me really, I feel like the fry to this basil is cooking out a lot of the aromatics, which I guess is compensated by the fact that we've just used an absolutely ungodly amount of Thai basil, maybe 4 or 5 times more than what I would use in a stir fry. The added benefit, of course, is that the fried leaf gives a nice contrast of texture to the popcorn chicken, which makes for a more interesting textural garnish to the dish than a plain floppy basil leaf. So, let me know if you tried this for yourselves and tell me what you think. Okay, so that's it everyone. I hope you enjoyed this and I hope you give this one a shot. For those who missed it, this video is part of a larger series dedicated to reproducing foods that I came across during our time traveling through Taiwan, so definitely check out that 2-part series next if you haven't yet too. For the Bay Area locals, come find the Wu Can Cook fried rice pop-up at the West Oakland Farmers Market every Sunday, literally in front of the food hall where we'll be opening our very first brick and mortar later this year. As always, like, comment, subscribe, share, be nice interneters, and I'll see you soon. Bye.